Welcome back. So I've got my spider pretty much perfected on how I'm going to make them this year. I'm not going to be able to get as many done as I want to. I'd like to knock out about 100 of them in the next week, but I don't think it's going to happen. I never thought of making the spiders with resin, and I thought I'd just like kind of give it a try. Normally I soldered them, and I soldered the legs on and stuff, but this one is made with resin. And what I'd like to do is at least get a video tutorial and show step by step how I make them, what size beads, what size wire I'm using, and get that tutorial done at least. If I get some help in here, 6, 8, I could probably knock out 100 of them in the next week. And I just might do that. But I've got some other factors to take into consideration. So this is what I've been doing, is getting ready for Halloween and making little things. These first ones usually go to my family. They're nuts about stuff like this. They got kids. These things are fun to decorate with. And I'm also thinking of another way to use these spiders, and it's making a smaller one, more gothic looking, black and red, and applying it on a leather band and making a bracelet with a much smaller spider. So something like that would be for sale year round. Of course, I could have these available too, but it's more of a holiday thing. So this is what I've been doing. And I've been listening to a few videos. I happened to listen to Rustic's video, and it was heart touching. I almost cried. I did. I want to thank Rustic kind of forgiving me um, for the time that I did offend her too, and I am sorry for that. Her video was mostly about Tamara, and there's just so much I'd like to say, but I don't know. I would like to meet her too. She seemed like she'd be really fun to go out with for a night on the town, and boy, we could get into some some trouble. And but it's never going to happen. It's just something you wish could happen, and you have to accept it's not going to happen. I've met a lot of good people off of the internet, but not recently. Not recently. And I think that, because of the COVID and all the things that are going on in the world that are making people live in fear has a lot to do with their behavior and their attitudes. So I've got this one done now. I was going to clip a space out of this. So it looked like it had, like prongs sticking out, teeth, pinchers. But I think I'm going to leave that as a way to hang this from a string and attach it in the spider webs. Another way to hang this is to put rings inside the feet. That made rings inside of all the feet. I just think it looks neat. So I'm going to try and do a tutorial on this. They're not really that hard. It's just that the way I went about it this time is you got to have a lot of stuff to do it with. I'm going to do some like alternatives because I used UV resin, this stuff here, and my UV flashlight. But if you have a bottle of the UV resin, you can use sunlight to cure this resin. And I use the resin to attach the legs. And yesterday I did one on a piece of orange glass, and the resin didn't want to stick good to the glass. But here with this is a resin piece I made out of a jewelry mold. And you can see it's got some depth, some interesting shapes inside of there. You can see it's textured inside. See? And seeing this is resin, this one is resin too. These are jewelry molds. The resin is sticking to the resin very well. This is not UV resin, this cabochon. This is just regular resin for jewelry making. And then the UV resin stuck really good. And I also noticed that compared to yesterday, I went straight in with these wires, just straight in. And you could turn them and pull them out. So this time I hooped it around, bent them around, and I hammered them to texture them, to scratch them up, so the resin would stick better. And it worked. I can't pull them off. They're nice and sturdy. It's great. So now all I have to do is just cover this back with like some leather or felt or something. So that's how the spiders are going to be this year. And I'm going to try and get some people in here to help me to knock out 100 of them in the next week. Let's see if I can get some help in here. I know it's really hard to get help if people are working full-time jobs, so they like after work stop over for a couple hours. And then there's some other people who don't work and are retired like me that could come in and spend some time here. I'd like to get them done in the next week and get them up for sale for Halloween. I should have been prepared already. I should have had these done and ready to go. So during this next whole year, I'll be working on odds and ends like this for the upcoming holidays next year. I'm already thinking Christmas, and I've got some ideas in mind for some little Christmas decorations too with this resin, making little snowmen and incorporating the hooks and stuff like that. So I make jewelry and I do resin work and I finger paint and I just do all kinds of stuff. So that's basically what my channel's about. And this weekend I was invited to go to like I don't know, like a get together, like a party thing, and I think I'm going to pass because I've got so much going on like this that it's hard to find time to just sit back and shoot the shit, and so to speak. I've got some other things going on I haven't talked about yet, and I want to get this project done, about 100 of these spiders done in the next week, if I make it. I have some things going on that um, I might have to go in and have a procedure done. I'm starting to have symptoms and signs, and I've had 2 heart attacks already in 2012, and I kind of know. Um, I knew at that time I would need surgery again. They didn't know how long, um, but I'm starting to notice the signs and symptoms of how it was in the past. They said I would need one more heart stent, and I think I'm getting there. In 2012, when I had the other 2 stents put in my heart, I was the other artery was at 40% blocked. I don't have any blockage anywhere else in my body, just in my heart. So weird that it just centers around there, but my husband has it everywhere else in his body except his heart. We're just two opposites. But back in 2012, they said that the other artery is at 40%, and they couldn't do anything about it until it gets past 75%. And um, all the little symptoms I had that led up to the heart attack, I didn't really know that it was heart. I thought it was backache and other things because I have um, degenerative disc disease. So it's very hard to tell when you have spine problems. It affects the ribs, and the ribs attach in the front. So it's tricky. But I've been noticing signs and symptoms that I can tell the difference now between, spinal pain and um, blockage. So I'm gonna go in, and I'll probably be gone a couple days. Um, Maybe just even overnight. This procedure to get stents is relatively simple. It's painless. Um, I did really well with the procedure they did in the past, and I come out feeling like 20 years younger. So I have that going on. I just haven't been telling anyone, but now you know. Anyways, that's why I'm going to call in some people to come and help and sort of mass produce our Halloween decoration this year. It's the spider, and hopefully we'll get some done and get them up in the store for sale. And while I'm at it, I'm going to make a tutorial in case they would need reference. They'd have it all in a video. So I'm going to get all that done before I go in. I'm going to try. I'm going to try. So, after you've been through this blockage thing, it's like almost no biggie. Maybe I'm just taking it for granted. I don't know. But it really wasn't that bad. A lot of people think, what's worse is what my husband went through. With him, they took the arteries right out, cleaned them, sewed them up, and put them back in, and then sewed him up. And, he has massive scarring from that. With me, they just go in the groin area and they go right up the heart, and there's no scars. There's no pain, nothing. It's a very simple procedure. Well, for me it is. That's the way I take it. It's major. They're working with the heart, but it ain't that bad. But I'm going to keep plugging along on my arts and crafts and, trying to stay positive in a very negative space on YouTube with all of these people that are here for a different agenda. I want to say that Tamara used to have other kind of content on her channel, and she was building memories for her family too. And what happened when she got introduced to this pocket of people, her whole world changed. And, Rustic, I know you feel kind of let down that you can't go meet her. And for whatever reason she has is her reason, and she's been through a lot. And I get it. I wish I could meet her too. But to me, I've accepted it's not going to happen. And we're just never going to be able to get together and go out on the town and get in trouble. We'd rather stay online and get in trouble. But I really don't want to get in trouble. I just really want to do my arts and crafts and just listen to other people's videos. But Rustic, I liked the message you put out. It felt inspiring. It was uplifting. And hey, there you are. I'm just talking about you. And your ear must have been ringing. Would you like to come up on my panel? I was talking about how much I liked your video. It felt good. There was a positive note, and I almost cried too. I did. What ESP? Let me see. Extra shite in the pants. Oh, no. Well, come on up. Let me see if the link made it. Yeah, it did. Let me pin it on top. I left a comment on your video as a suggestion because you were looking or thinking rather on what to do with your channel next. And I thought, well, gosh, Rustic really likes music. why don't you do music documentaries on bands from back in our day, still in our day, and what these guys are doing now, how they've all turned out. That's so interesting for me to go look up, like Roger Walters, what he's doing now. Not Walters, Roger Waters, what he's doing now and what he's into, and their latest music and how old they are now. And like even Mick Jagger, what is he doing now? Um, how is their health holding up? And that would be so interesting. I always go looking for information like that on bands that I've been acquainted with throughout my life, and we seem to kind of like the same kind of music. So, and there's so much to learn. Hi, are you muted?
Wait a minute. Am I in the show already?
Yeah, you are.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Then I hope I wasn't bleeding over. I need to
Oh,
get
you're good.
that was quick.
I
Hello.
was
Good.
I was surprised you came in. I was talking about you, and boom, there you are.
That was weird. I thought you were talking about me because you saw me come in.
Yeah, I seen you in.
I had
I
just come
wasn't
in and
looking.
all of a sudden you're talking about me. I'm like,
I,
whoa.
well, your message. Um, I just seen your video that you did, and it touched me.
Well,
It
thanks.
really touched me, and um, there is so much I'd like to say, but um, I just can't. I guess without hurting feelings and stuff like that. But
Yeah, yeah. Boy,
um,
that's a big part of what's wrong with people anymore.
yeah,
It
I
really is. I think everybody's kind of feeling that right now, especially with all the other stuff going on politically and that.
politically and health. I mean, our health is on the line.
I know our livelihoods too.
Our livelihoods, the foods. Oh, these shipping problems at the docks, and um,
Hmm. Yeah,
a
why
lot of
can't Biden send in the Federal Reserve and have them truck all that stuff? They know how to move things.
that's true. I haven't
How
thought of
come
that.
nobody's even talking about that? I haven't heard that anywhere.
Because all attention is on the drama of Gabby and Brian, and
Mm,
the true
mm,
crime thing. And I think true crime is consumed. I mean, I like true crime, but it can consume us to where
hmm.
we're devoting too much time and we don't have that balance where we're looking at other things too.
Yeah, and they really amount to distractions in the bigger picture, long
Hmm.
run.
Right.
They are. They really are. I mean, it's kind of like life is. I'm not even a Libra, but I see life through scales.
The balance.
Right. I've always like I can remember being in high school. This is crazy sounding, but in 12th grade, my friends and I used to go hang out in back of the where all the tombstones were in the cemetery that was right across the street from my house, practically. And my relatives are buried in there, in fact. And we'd sit back there and drink quarts of beer,
Gosh,
get
we have
hammered, you know?
we have so much in common.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the cemetery was one of the places we hung out too.
I can remember getting really loaded and I'd start talking. They start calling me Billy Graham. Honest to God. I'd start talking about too much anything's no good. That was my favorite line.
Uh,
Pass the joint.
yeah, yeah. Pass,
But
puff, puff.
yeah, but it's somewhere I got that sense of wanting balance. Probably I got it because my household was so completely weirded out with dysfunction. And it was really unique in the fact that I didn't know a single other family or relative or anybody that had the degree of party spirit that my parents had in their alcoholism,
Hmm.
being that my mom grew up in vaudeville on the road. And my dad started playing in jazz bands as a drummer when he was about 14. He moved to Cleveland and was playing all day, all time, and well, going to school
Oh,
too. But they both got sucked up into the world early of partying and drinking alcohol and
right.
became addicted at young ages and trying to act and pretend everything was like just fine. If you notice anything out of sight, you get smacked and you get told to shut up and sit down.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
my dad worked at Schlitz Brewery when I was growing
Oh,
up,
wow.
and I never seen my mother drink or smoke, but she did when she was younger. Before I was born, I
Yeah.
was kind of born late in her life, and she had already quit all that stuff. Maybe she might have drank a little bit here and there, but very, very little. And my father drank a little bit too, but I've never seen him drunk.
Wow.
And for working at Schlitz Brewery, you would think he'd be a full blown alcoholic, but he wasn't. Um,
Right. Yeah. Well, I worked in a donut shop, and you'd think I would have never stopped eating donuts, but after a while, you get sick of it. So he was
right.
probably the
Yeah.
same way. You
Yeah.
smell it. You're in there with all those vats and everything every day.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
see, if he drank, it might probably wasn't even beer that much.
Well, they had a little bar in their house,
Oh,
and
okay, cool.
um,
Yeah,
they had
they were
brandy and
civilized.
whiskey, and it the amount of time from when they bought, they restocked their bars till the time it emptied out, it was probably within the year. So there wasn't that much of it. They would bring out,
Hmm.
the booze if somebody came to visit. They'd offer them a shot or whatever that way, but it was
Hmm.
more for entertainment. It wasn't a daily thing.
Yeah, that's what I grew up calling normal. My parents were literally just drowning in it. Especially my dad. He died at 55 years old.
Wow.
It was real sudden, and I was the one there with him at home when it happened. I had to call 911.
Both of my grandfathers died early. Well, they were full blown alcoholics,
Oh, really?
and they made their own, and they probably made it wrong. They were probably poisoning their system all along. And
Yeah, I've heard you can do that if it isn't made right.
yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I never tried making it. But that was a big deal back in the um it's late. I can't think what it was called now.
well, they went through the prohibition, the alcohol.
There's the word I was trying to think of. Yeah, right,
Yeah,
exactly.
they went
Yeah,
through
their
that
bathtub
time.
gin and all that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, my dad was really caught up as a musician in the whole swing band era thing. Oh man. And he was an excellent drummer. But
Wow.
he was so busy partying, he'd go and audition for a job, and he'd get jobs with big named people back in.
Uh huh.
And then never he'd pass the audition and then not show up for work because he was too hungover or still partying or whatever he was doing, and he'd lose jobs, and he ended up losing his first marriage
Aw. Well, the
and his
same with
son.
my son being a musician. Same
Uh-huh.
exact thing. And that's why he, at 38, quit doing music. He
Yeah,
quit.
that's nice though that he
It's
made
either
the
you
choice.
want a life and a wife and a family, or you want the party,
Right,
and basically
right,
that's what it is when you're in a band traveling around, you get into partying a lot. So,
right. Yeah, that can happen. And
yeah,
when you're that young, you're getting hooked on it already. But it's a
yeah,
harder thing to deal with. It. Plus, he was so irresponsible that he ended up having to deal with a lot of sorrow and loss with his dad, who hung himself
Mm-hmm.
after he had a stroke.
Oh,
My dad was about 29, and he had taken his mom shopping one Sunday after church, and they came home and found him hanging in the garage.
oh my.
Yeah. And then his mom died next year, right after she met my mom. And my mom was a dancer and singer. And
Oh wow.
I don't say this to be disrespectful, but kind of the floozy type, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she was a dragon inside somewhere, partly. And
Yeah.
very unsincere. My dad was a bankroll, and she would purposely want him to be intoxicated. He was hardly at home because he'd play a lot of gigs after his work during the day. He'd go
Mm-hmm.
to work selling shoes, and then he'd come home and eat dinner. And if he had to go back out to play drums, he wouldn't come back home till 3, 4, or 5 in the morning and get up and go to work at 8. You know,
Wow.
right?
That's
And
hard
the
on a
days that he
person.
was there, he was so inebriated that it was like he wasn't there.
That's hard on a person.
It is, and I was really younger when all of it got that bad because he was already, I think, about 35 or something when I was born. My mom had 2 miscarriages right after me. Then I'm certain now that I've gotten this old and looked into things that a lot of it had to do with the heavy consumption of alcohol plus smoking cigarettes.
Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I do. I have a half brother from that first marriage that I found. I had to search for him, and I found him.
Wow.
And he's awesome. He's a lot like my dad, but he's had a good life because when she left him, she took him with her,
Uh-huh.
and she remarried right away and raised him real good. But he's out in California. And then I have 2 sisters. I have
Okay.
a younger sister, and then I have an elder sister that's 5 years older.
So you're the middle child.
Yeah, I'm the peacemaker by spirit. But I was really in a war with my mom ever since I was 2 years old, in the sense of she was extremely domineering and violent when she got upset. And when she was drunk enough, she got into rages. She was uh, like that Mother Dearest, Joan Crawford,
Oh.
at times.
Oh
She
wow.
made us do things like, and if my life hadn't happened with Faith the way it did, it would have killed me. It literally would have killed me.
Mm.
The weight that I was carrying for their shame was unbelievable
Wow.
because I felt it get lifted off me. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I know just how hard it was. I used to be a basket case emotionally. I could barely keep myself together unless I was clowning around. And then suddenly I realized as I got a little older that that was a lot like what my dad was really doing. He was always the center of the party, life of the
Uh-huh.
party type. It was very funny. People drove all the way to a couple hundred, 400 miles just to come and spend a weekend at our house or something. Musicians, big named ones.
Wow.
Yeah. And other friends, It
Yeah.
was like a living in, like the house was a part time cocktail lounge.
Uh-huh. Like a hangout.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they'd be up for days in a row partying. We lived in a house that when I was real young. We moved in there when I was 6. The whole basement was finished, but it was finished like with a piano and a bar. And when you went behind the bar, you opened the one cupboard, and there was this nifty metal rod piece that was bent. And when you slid it through the little cut open slot, it opened the wall like a door, like
Oh
you
my
see in
goodness.
TV. And in there were probably, I'd say, at least several hundred Lionel train cars all over the walls and
Wow.
shelves in there. Yeah, the place was really cool. And there was a little creek right across the street. And then the really cool thing is, I remember moving in there in February. I was 6, and we had this big picture window in the living room, and the couch, the back of the couch was under it. And I was on my knees with my arms up on the back of the couch looking out the window, and it was snowing. And there's a yellow brick church that was real small. I think it was a oh, what was it now? I can't remember, but it was some kind of Protestant thing. And
Uh-huh.
it had this glass block that was like rainbow colors in the front above the door, of lit up in the shape of a cross. And in the snow was sticking to it. It was like diamonds. And it would
Yeah.
reflect all those colors all over the place. And I was sitting there just like in trance. And there's
Oh,
diamonds everywhere, all
uh,
over the streets. And then there's all the trees in the creek directly across the other part of the
oh, you
street.
are giving me flashbacks. We had the big picture
Really?
window too, and we had a street light close to the front of our house. And I used to wake up around midnight, and my mom would be sleeping, and I would go downstairs and look out that window. I'd wait for my dad to come home because he worked second shift. He'd be home about 12:30, but it would be snowing, and I remember the diamonds sparkling while I'm sitting there looking out the window waiting for my dad to come home.
Yeah, see, and you're an artist, so you really appreciate that.
The beauty of it.
I
Wow,
know.
yeah.
It's just so in depth, to see the refractions of those colors all through there.
Yes. I
And
know.
then it's like this magnitude of refractions. You got the snow giving even colors. You get some amber and some magenta and blues and stuff.
Yeah,
It's so cool.
yeah. I remember them looking like diamonds.
Yeah.
Great
So it was a
memories.
great place. It was that outdoors was my sanity. That was where I maintained a sense of refuge
Uh-huh.
from all the craziness and that. But I became a heavy thinker even as a child.
Yeah, I grew into the hippie thing too because I had older brothers and sisters, and of course, my sister Barbara was a hippie, and she kind of raised me because my mom was in a wheelchair, and
Mm.
Barbara gave me the street smarts, where my mom, couldn't take me out. Barbara always had me out on the streets with her and her friends, and I kind of tagged along
Mhm.
with them. I was the little tyke, but
You learned a lot probably
yeah,
just by watching and listening. It's amazing how much you can pick up if you're really watching and
yeah,
listening.
yeah. She didn't really get into drugs or anything like that. She just,
Mhm.
had the hair, the flowers, the kind of the lifestyle, but she didn't get into drugs or anything.
Mhm.
If she did, it was hidden and it wasn't a lot. I think she used to drink wine, um, but she had the hippie pad, and it was all,
Mhm.
like what we call today.
Lava lamps and string beads, right?
Yes, lava lamps, string beads. Yeah,
Bell bottom blues.
guys with long hair, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm 68, so I know just what you're talking about.
Yeah, she was. I'm 60, and she was 12 years older than me, so
Hmm.
she would be 72.
Yeah. See, she's a year younger than my eldest sister.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and they all then, there's that 12-year gap, and then I had three sisters and one brother. There were, five of us all together with that 12-year
Oh.
gap between me and them, and they had a different life than I did. See, they
Well.
all grew up and moved out soon after I was born. So
Hmm.
I kind of had the place to myself,
Hmm.
except Barbara was still at home. And then I spent a lot of time at her house too. But with them, they had a harder life. See, when by the time I came along, my dad was already well established with work. There was only one child, and things were
Yeah.
easier for them.
Sure.
Where when the other kids were little, my dad didn't have a steady job. He was working as many hours as he can, doing a variety of things, trying to get established. and they were poor, very, very poor. My mom couldn't work to help out, and it was hard for them. So when I came, by the time I was growing up and being an only child, I got more material things than they did. I got more toys and things like that. So they called me the spoiled one. And it didn't necessarily mean I was spoiled. It's just that my parents had an easier life with me
Mm-hmm.
than they did with raising them.
Yeah, plus the whole dynamic of less children near in age.
Hmm.
Like you said, just having that one, and then your other sister, did you say Barbara?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Barbara.
right. That's a whole different thing than having your other ones when they were that age.
Right. And they seen my parents going through the hard times and the fighting,
Right, right.
and I
And
never
they're
seen my
older now. They're
yeah,
so much older that they have a complete different cognitive ability to
right.
understand it all.
They seen my parents fight. I've never seen my parents fight. My
Yeah.
mom, she was domineering, but she wasn't abusive with me. She didn't beat me or anything.
Uh-huh.
A couple of times, I think I really asked for it too.
My mom put my head right through a plate glass window once.
Oh, wow. Oh, I
Yeah, and
think,
stood there and kept on yelling at me. And I was bleeding all over the place.
mm,
I've been through so much that, well, that's what I was getting at is that I used to walk around feeling all the weight of the shame and embarrassment. And after I hit about 15 years old or something, started wearing my hair long again because I was a swimmer when I was younger than that. So I kept it short and I didn't have to wear a cap in the pool.
oh,
But
neat.
yeah, I had a great instructor. I loved her so much. But anyway, so then I started letting it grow. But one day, our neighbor said to me, "Why are you always hiding your face with your hair?" And I had never thought about the fact that it was looked that way.
Yeah,
And I can remember like how that just kind of was somebody slapping me awake or something. I'm like, wow, I never thought about that, am I?
so
But it
you
was like
said
I
that
was so full of shame.
that's it. You say that you're full of shame. Is it because your parents made you feel that way, that things were your fault?
Not so much that as it was the fact that they embarrassed me and I was really neglected without having my father around at all. And the abuse of my mother and the way she used us was abusive. And we had to keep all her lies and secrets from him.
Okay.
And my eldest sister wound up somehow my mom totally broke her spirit or something because she just became her um rook or her little pawn.
Hmm.
And like I said, I started speaking back and standing up to my mom from a young age and blocking her swings and stuff. And Sherry would never have dared do that. That's that sister. She would have never ever dared do that. She was really beaten down. So it became like there were like a war zone where you had your zone line and I was the scapegoat is the best way to term it. My dad actually grew marijuana in the backyard when he was a young boy, and it was legal then. That was before 1937 when they passed that tax that outlawed it.
Wow.
He kept on growing it, and he got caught, and he was arrested at his job that one afternoon. And the school pulled me into the office because he and my mom had told the cops that I planted it
Oh my
and that it was
goodness.
me growing it. And
Well,
it
yeah, kid, you're not going to get in trouble. They're not going to put you in jail.
Not back then. That wasn't on me at all. He was the one that had to go to trial, but they made me lie and perjure myself on the stand to save his butt.
Oh, Rustic, you've really been through a lot.
Yeah, I got called marijuana girl at school ever since. And then we moved.
You
But
know,
wow. I
it's,
went back to that school. We moved down to Pittsburgh from that school district right after that. He had a 2-year probation. That's all he got. And then when that was done, we left and moved to Pittsburgh, which is his original childhood home area. So we're in Pittsburgh, and in the year 2000, I after being online and finding that old school district, don't I find out they're having a reunion of my old class, and I'm allowed to come, and I go. And I mean, there's a lot of other story dynamics to the whole scenario I won't bore you with, but
mhm.
I'm the black sheep, okay? And everybody was attached me to the older sister who they didn't like. I'll say it that way. Like I was number two. And I get to this thing, and there's a door prize of this beautiful handmade quilt that is like a history of all the different historical buildings of the community because it is a
Uh-huh.
historical area. And I won it.
Wow.
I won it, and I couldn't even hardly believe it. And people that knew me were like still in that weird childhood click zone, some of them from way back in the days. And I couldn't even believe it. I was like, oh my God, you poor souls. And then they see me with that damn thing, and I was just beaming from ear to ear. Well, on the way coming home, all of a sudden for some reason, I started meditating on all that had happened with that trial and everything.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden, I realized, my God, if that had happened in this generation, I would have been the one on trial. I
Yeah.
would have been the one that was locked up, not my dad. They didn't even realize the sacrifice that I might have been making.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you one more quick example. My mom used to have
Parents are
us,
supposed to make a lot of sacrifices for, their kids.
yeah,
But for you, it seems like it was the other way around.
right. There were times that I felt like the little professor or the parent, it's like, you guys don't have nothing together. It's like I'm suffering and you can't even tune into it at all. There was just a lot of abandonment and neglect and stifling and embarrassment too when they get loaded,
Uh-huh.
saying dumb things, doing dumb things, all that kind of stuff in front of people and friends and all that. And dad was clueless the whole time. And then
Wow.
once he died, my mom started going around and calumnizing me to all the family and friends, saying that I killed him and that I was the one that turned him in for growing it, which was a complete
This
lie.
is going to sound weird to say, but without all that under your belt, you wouldn't be the person you are today.
Oh, I know. That's why I feel so strong about myself. I'm very opinionated, and I know that can be a real pain in the ass, come across wrong sometimes. I'm trying to work on that more. But I mean,
Well,
I've just there, it's just a unique kind of place that I'm in right now after having lived all that and living my own
yeah.
um, losses as a result of it all, like having the disease so early and all that,
Yeah,
losing
I'm going
jobs.
through that too. I think I need that other heart stent pretty soon.
Oh no,
Well,
I
it's,
didn't
I
know
don't
you
think,
had one.
I have two of them. I've had two heart attacks already.
Oh gosh.
And I have two heart stents, and that was 2012. And I know what it feels like. I know what the pain that it creates, and
What, the
I
stent? You mean?
before the stents.
Oh, the heart attack
No,
itself.
after the stents, I'm like 20 years younger.
Wow.
Yeah, and having the stents put in didn't hurt. They went up in the groin and did it that way, and it was just easy peasy. And you just wake up after surgery, after you get through that recovery time, and it's like all of a sudden it's like, wow, I freaking feel awesome. I feel like I'm 20 years old. And So and it happens, the blockage happens in my heart, and it happens gradually, that you don't realize things are actually going on right away.
Yeah, right. When that's
They're so
gradual like that.
gradual. And
Right.
then having spine problems in the same area of your back,
Oh
it's
my.
hard to differentiate the difference between the pain.
Hmm.
So if I have, severe back pain all this time, I'm wondering, is it the heart or is it the back? But I think I can tell the difference now because there's new stuff going on. And I'm thinking it might be time to, call the cardiologist. And if he can't get me in right away because they are so backed up, I'm
Oh,
just going
really?
to maybe give it a little bit more time, a week, maybe. That might be all I have. And then go
Was
in
there?
on an
Wow.
emergency basis.
Oh my. Well, that's scary.
And well, yeah, but see, it happens gradual.
Yeah, right.
Back
Well,
when they put the other stents in, I was only 40% blocked in this artery that I think I need to stent now. There's nothing they can do until it's past 75%.
and there's no benefit to try to tweak any of your medication for it at all, if you're on any.
Aspirin to thin the blood. That's all I'm doing.
Vitamin E will too, you know.
Yeah, I don't
You got
want
to
to
be
take too
careful though.
much vitamin E because
Yeah.
having diabetes, I don't metabolize
Yeah.
um, normally.
Right.
But see, with it happening gradually like that, now I know the difference between the pain and
Well, that's a good
um,
thing.
I'm just judging by prior, prior experiences with
Right.
it.
Well,
So
yeah,
I
that's
would say,
basically all you have to go on.
yeah, because the other ones I went in on an emergency basis. I didn't know what was happening until I actually had the full blown heart attack. Where now I know, I think I can still catch it and still go in on an emergency basis, and they have to stent me. So instead of waiting for the cardiologist who's all backed up, and it'll be a month or two before he can see me.
Oh
So,
my.
and I'll just go in on an emergency basis. And I don't know, what's scary is I don't know how they're going to treat me with this. Um, I'm not. I didn't have my rabies shots, if you know what I mean. The
Yeah, right. The magic
bags.
potion.
Yeah, I haven't had none of that, and
Yeah, right,
I don't
man.
even
Everything's
know.
up in the air regarding all that.
Yeah, I
That's a
don't know
real
how they're
weird
going to treat
dynamic
me.
we've got. I know, and did you hear that thing that Biden said about they're losing their patience with non-vaxxers? Now today they've come out in a statement, somebody in the administration did, calling the non-vaxxers fear mongers. We're fear mongers now. I shouldn't have said the word.
Everybody's a fear monger. I mean,
Right.
even the people who get the shots are, it's
Right. I know.
it's the world we live in. There's too
Yeah.
much. There's so much hype, and a
Well,
person just
yeah.
has to take into consideration they do what they need to do for their lives.
Yeah,
And
at this point you can only work with what you have.
right, there's so many different health problems and things
That's
going
kind of like
on.
what I was thinking about on my live tonight when I was talking about us needing to be there for one another
Yeah,
and
that
learning to
that
forgive
was
and learning to
another
overlook and
inspiring message, and what you said about forgiveness, and then towards the end, you gave another speech that was in your video was just very inspiring.
well, I hope the right people felt inspired. Thank you for the compliment.
You are reaching people, you are reaching out, you're reaching the people, and I think what you're doing on your channel is perfect. I mean, you don't do the slap videos a lot, and
Mhm.
um, I wouldn't even call it slap videos. I wouldn't even call them slap videos.
Well, when I did that live on the 12th, I felt proud of myself, like I had just slap bitched the shit out of Clovis.
Well, how I look
And
at
she
it,
had it coming, so fuck her.
well, you had an experience.
It
You
felt good to do it, and I had to do it. I had to
you
get it out.
yeah, you spoke your mind,
Right.
and
It
I
wasn't with evil intent or anything, I don't
no,
wish her harm or
no,
any of that. I'm not going to
no.
harass and hassle anybody.
I mean,
That's my whole
you
thing,
know,
It's like,
we
I'm
all
a
got
hugger, not a fighter. But boy, don't put me in a corner or I'll come out kicking your balls.
to, yeah, you spoke your mind, and you don't do it very often. Um,
Right.
but what you're doing, with the inspirational speeches that you're doing, that would be perfect for your channel too.
Well, that
Um,
really is where my heart is and where uh, my strongest way with words
I
is
would
to
listen
just
to
talk like
that.
that.
I'm always looking for inspirational videos with a positive message, um, something to, um, something uplifting to listen to in a very negative world, a very negative environment, being online. Because I sit here and do my art, and I listen to YouTube,
Yeah.
and there's an overabundance of negativity here, and in my household there's not. It's very peaceful here. But I go online and I look at this and it's like, holy crumb's sake.
Yeah, I know. I think of somebody like Nikola Tesla, how he could almost see energy, and
Yeah.
there's a magnetic field that's talked about in science that covers the earth. And
Right.
sometimes I think, how amazing would it be if we could all actually see the electricity of our words as we're saying them? Like we were talking about the diamonds in the snow and we were seeing the refraction of light. Well, if we could see the electric energy that actually is in a spoken word, I think it would really change how we speak, maybe even.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, imagine like you'd be talking to somebody, you say something mean, and you see this great big red dart go flying toward them or something.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, I think it'd be like being in another dimension almost. But I've often thought if people could just grasp that for a second of their own speech, it would stop and make people think before they speak a little bit.
So I
At
get this
least.
image of me drawing a girl, a profile, her sideways view, and she's got her mouth open, and this breath is coming out with
Rays of color.
rays of color, music notes, and words, and
Yeah.
swirly, misty
Yeah, that
looking.
waviness that they show in audio patterns.
Uh-huh. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Hell, that sounds like an awesome image to draw or paint, just for something different.
Yeah. You draw, don't you?
I don't draw very well, no. Especially I don't draw or paint on the computer at all.
On a canvas or a notebook or
Oh
anything?
yeah, I do a lot of used to do a lot of oil and watercolor and canvas and charcoal drawing. Yeah, I mean I can draw, but I'm not very.
I gotta show you one of my favorite things. I'm gonna put my cam on here.
I have a hard time seeing angles and dimensions and drawing when I'm
I
looking at.
do too, at first until I get going. But I love these graphite pencils.
Oh wow, those are neat looking. Yeah, I
Oh,
think
I
I've
love
seen them
these
before.
things.
I've seen them in Michael's or somewhere.
Water soluble.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I love to
Yeah,
sketch with these.
my
I like
hands
to
and
sketch
fingers are so bad.
on top of my paintings because you
Hmm.
can really see this, and it just paints away when you paint over it.
Yeah, I really appreciate the artwork you do and your character that's into that. That
I
I've
got to
always
get a
been.
video tutorial on this spider. This
Yeah, that is so neat.
I know
What is that
that's
material?
resin.
Yeah.
I made that
Should put beads in there
cabochon.
or something to melt them.
I made this cabochon out of resin and India ink.
Oh, India ink. Ooh.
Yep, that's what it does in resin. So it's clear
Oh.
resin, and there's the back side,
Oh, okay.
and I put the clear resin in a mold, and then I drop India ink in there. Here's another one.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Wow,
So
that's
it looks like
beautiful. Almost looks like a
carpeting.
stone. Yeah. Looks like it has gold leaf inside of it. Little teeny particles.
Yeah, and if you look close, they kind of look like little Martians.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, so when you drop your resin, not the UV resin, this is regular resin,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get India ink. Okay, and you put your colors in there, and you only put a few drops. You don't overdo it, and then you put this white. The white is made with titanium dioxide, I think it's called,
Uh-huh.
and it's heavier, and it'll start to sink. So it'll bring the color with it, so that I'm dropping it in. Actually, it would be the back side. That's what it
Right.
looks on the back side.
Right.
So after you drop your colors on there, and see the white was sinking with the colors, and that's what produces. You see that?
Yeah. That is
It
freaking
looks
awesome.
like mushrooms or something in there.
I thought of that too when you first
Yeah,
showed it up.
it's got a lot of dimension
Yeah. It
in there.
almost looks like the ruins of um oh god, now I just lost the word. Atlantis.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It does. It kind of looks like something under the sea. So yeah,
That
that's
is so
the
nice.
effect it produces.
I love your work. I really do.
Thank you.
That's so cool. I can't do that kind of work anymore with my hands. It's all I can do to handle a mouse anymore, even.
When
And
I
I
started,
drop things a lot. I can't hold things tight.
I haven't done painting for a while. And when I started back in 2018, I thought I just need something new, some kind of new art technique. And I found this paint pouring, and everybody's
Mhm.
doing it. It's the latest fab and art and things. So I thought maybe I'll try that. And when I started back at it, I was so clumsy. I was spilling everything. I was losing dexterity.
Oh,
And
wow.
by practicing it every day, I gained some of my dexterity back. I handle the materials better. Your hands get used to it, what it feels like in your hands. You
Yeah.
need that connection um, between what that art material feels like in your fingers, and it's got to connect with your brain. It's like a triangle there: the
Absolutely.
material, your hands, the brain, and there's got to be that connection. And once you get back in the swing of things and you practice it, your hands actually get better, your dexterity gets
Yeah.
better,
Yeah.
you're not as clumsy. That's what I've noticed with me.
Yeah, I
But
got
yeah,
back
I
into
was, I
doing
was
some therapy exercises with my little pill squeegee thing I have here for my fingers. I
there you
roll
go.
it and pinch it and twist it like a baton in my fingers and stuff.
Well, see, for me, I would get some clay, and that way I'm producing something
Yeah,
at the same time.
right.
you know i
Yeah.
I-
I don't have time for that though because I have that great big garden that I did in the summer. Plus, my house is just full of house plants that I have to take care of and water all the time. Plus, I do a lot of the meal cooking around here.
you know
And
I've noticed a lot of households don't have plants like they used to.
oh yeah,
Yeah, well, friends that I go visit, my family, my friends, even myself, I don't have house plants like I used to.
Oh gosh, I have too many. I have trouble giving them away. My neighbor actually said, "Not another one." Not that long ago.
When I was growing up in Milwaukee, they have a place called the Domes. It's Mitchell Park Conservatory. And there's three very large domes, and they have plants inside. One is a desert, the other dome is tropical, and the
Awesome.
third dome is seasonal. They do seasonal things in there. They
Hey, that
set up
sounds cool.
Legoland in there once, but they have weddings inside that third dome and that. But there's a lot of maintenance they have to go through and prune, and it's quite large. They have trails down through there. They have a stream, a little waterfalls in the tropical. Tropical is my favorite, but
Mhm.
they had to, prune them. And when I was about 17, I used to go and climb the fence in the back of the domes and dig through their dumpsters and salvage their plant snippings. So I'd bring them
Aw.
home and I'd look it up, see what it is, and I would save those plant clippings. And I had the most unique house plants.
Oh my God, bless your pea picking little heart. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was a dumpster diver.
I talk to my plants.
Oh yeah, I
I
I
play
had
music for them too.
it was an obsession with me because I've had like 200 plants at one time in my apartment.
I ran my own landscaping business for several years until I got sick. And
Wow,
I
cool.
almost bought a greenhouse.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah. I had it picked out and everything, was working on finances and wound up in the hospital instead. Ulcerative colitis, 25 years old. They thought I had peritonitis when I first
Wow.
came in the ER. Oh God, I never felt so sick as
A
that in
friend
my
of
life.
mine had that. She was really young.
Yeah, it can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I carried so much stress, but I didn't realize how much I was carrying until it got lifted out of me. And then when I got real sick, I had different medical personnel talking to me about stress too and diet and all that.
Stress is hard on your heart.
Yeah. It's hard on every organ, really. It's hard on your hormones and on your lymph glands
Yeah, it is.
with
Yeah,
your
you get those stress can cause a lot of like
yeah. I take natural supplements a lot. I take a thing called Nerve Tonic. It's sublingual, little teeny little tablets. These really work. They're made by Highlands. They make a really good product that kills poison ivy right away if you get it too. And
I
they don't
always
even
heard.
cost much.
I've never had poison ivy on me, but I've
Oh, okay.
always heard that wherever poison ivy is growing, you'll find jewelweed, and jewelweed is the antidote for the poison ivy. And I thought one of these days, I'm going to get in a patch of poison ivy and I'm going to try that jewelweed just to see if it works.
Hmm. That's
Jewelweed, and
interesting.
jewelweed grows here like crazy, very evasive. It's beautiful. Yeah, it produces some really unique orange little flowers on it.
Ah, can't say I've ever remember hearing about it.
I think it might grow in your area too. Let me go look it up.
Yeah, I know there are some weeds that I've seen videos listed.
See, to me, there's no no such thing as weeds. Yeah, they're fragile, like look looking little bell-shaped flowers. Here's one. Jewelweed, impatience, touch me nots. Have you ever heard of touch me not?
Yeah.
Here, let me go. Let me do a screen share. I got it up on my screen. They're really pretty. My other favorite flower is a tiger lily, and these kind of look like with the orange and red, they kind of
Oh,
remind me of a
yeah.
tiger lily too. And a tiger lily usually has
Yeah.
six petals. These have three. See,
Oh my
that's the
God, that
jewelry.
is so beautiful. That is awesome.
They're tiny. They're just, this is what the plant would look
Yeah.
like.
Oh
Tiny
my
little
God, yeah.
flowers.
I have that growing on my property.
Sure, it grows all over the
Yeah.
place. Very
I
basic.
always thought it was a like a species of honeysuckle or something.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, the
Really
plant,
cool.
the flower kind of looks like a honeysuckle.
A little bit, yeah.
Little bells.
Miniature in comparison
But
on
this is supposed to be the antidote to
poison
poison
ivy.
ivy.
Oh,
I guess the
I'm so
leaves
glad to learn
and
that.
flowers.
I'm really glad to
So
learn that. I
I
didn't know
don't know
that.
if it works though.
Well,
I
I
don't.
get poison ivy every once in a while because there's so much of it around here. We can't control it like we used to either. We're both getting older.
Yeah.
I live with my sister, and she had a really bad traumatic brain injury at work back in 2010, and it made a whole difference in living on this big property.
Yeah.
Some of the things, like we used to keep the trails all mowed down and everything. They're all overgrown now.
Yeah, I
Years
used
ago.
to have a lot of trails and a lot of them have grown back. We still have some trails, but not like we used to.
Hmm.
There's just no time to fit
Yeah,
everything in.
I remember you showing me that picture. That's beautiful where you're at. It's
Okay,
similar
that's
to where
that's
I
I
live.
think that's the only trail we maintain.
Hmm.
We used to have trails that went back further yet, and then all the way around that cornfield. See, because my husband's family used to own all this property, and when it was their property, we had trails all the way through this whole area that we maintained.
Wow.
But since the property got was sold, other people own it. We just didn't want to do anything with it anymore. We didn't even
Hmm.
ask if we could.
Hmm.
So, but yeah,
Well, thank you so much for your encouraging words and compliments. I appreciate them.
well,
It is encouraging, and I think you're on to something when you talk about me just talking about the inspirational stuff more.
yeah,
I have that channel called Sunny Tears, and that's all music. But I
well,
just
okay.
set that up a couple months ago, so there's not much on there right now.
You were looking for also for another suggestion for all your other channels. Well, just leave them as is and have a main channel and make your playlists into.
Right. Yeah. Well, see, I was getting channels hit and taken left and right. And so I used to have the channels all connected one to the other. Like you could go to any channel and see all the other channels
Oh, okay,
links there.
okay.
And when by the time the third or fourth channel went, I undid that. I kind of decided I'd had enough of it because I was getting crowd struck and shit.
Yeah, YouTube is always constantly changing their rules and
Well,
copyrights, and it's hard to keep up with.
I
But
know because things are written vaguely to begin with.
well, yeah, they are. They really are. Um, but if you think about doing music documentaries, there you get a chance to play a clip of the song, and it goes into fair usage, playing little clips, talking about it, putting together a whole documentary on a band or a certain person, on how they progressed through their life, and then you get to play a little bit of their music. And I don't think there'd be a problem with copyrights with that because you're going under the
Fair
Fair
use.
Usage Act.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, a lot of it just has to be flexible because of
Yeah.
the pains. Like I can only sit just so long, and then it's like I'm crippled when I go to stand up.
Yeah, I've been noticing that too with my arts and crafts sitting here just a little too long. I've got a foot exerciser underneath my desk that I work my feet and my legs quite often on. It's
Oh,
just
that's good.
like
That's good for your
pedals.
heart.
Well, I'm not really getting cardio. It's because I'm
Well, it's blood
sitting
circulation, aren't you?
uh,
Increasing?
for the legs. Yeah, the legs and the feet. But
Mhm. The leg bones connected to the hips.
yeah, but it's like picture pushing down on a gas pedal. Okay, and I have
Okay.
two of those, one for each foot, and it's
Yeah.
just going back and forth with them.
Hmm.
I used to sit here on a yoga ball,
Hmm.
and maybe I should bring that yoga ball back in here because then you're always using the balance of your body to, balance on the
Right.
ball
Yeah.
and that.
Right. Hmm. Yeah, I've been on a ball before
Yeah,
many times. I've been through a lot of PTs. That's where I did it all. I had
yeah,
one
me
for
too.
a while. I have an inversion table and I can't even use it anymore because it hurts my feet where it clamps down. The top of my feet are really bad shape. All the bones are.
Mine are getting like that.
I got this one big knuckle on the top of my right foot that's killer.
Mm.
And now I don't even want to go ahead and I have the order to get the thing x-rayed and was told by my PC that they'd probably surgically have to go in and shave it down. The other foot was already done because I had other surgeries in near that area. And they went ahead and did it.
Well, my
But
friend has spine problems, and he calls them moon boots, and
oh,
it's a big padded pair of boots with these straps that go up on the doorway. They're on a clamp on
oh,
the doorway, and he hangs upside down.
huh,
Moon boots, he calls. They're real padded. They've got like fleece inside, and
huh.
they're thick. But he has to do that for his back.
Yeah, it's really great to decompress the spine that way. And
I've
it gets all
never
that
done
blood
it.
to your brain and oxygen.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Yeah, I used to use it every day for years when I first bought it. That was a long time ago. But
Oh,
well,
that's
listen, I'm
like
getting
a
pretty
rush.
tired. I've been up
Yeah.
this whole time.
Well,
I'm gonna jump off of here and go get some
thanks for
sleep.
joining me. I really enjoyed this
Thank you
chat.
for the invite. It's I've been enjoying it a whole lot. I really do. And I hope everything goes well with the situation you have about the stint and all that. And you'll be in my thoughts
Yeah,
and prayers.
we'll see. We'll see what's happening. It just could even be stress,
Yeah.
it's,
Well,
but when there's something there, it's got to check it out. That's the thing.
while you're being smart, that's
Yeah.
gonna be a very important factor.
Well, you rest well,
Thanks.
and we'll talk some more.
Okie dokie. You take
All
care.
right. Bye
All right.
bye.
Bye bye.